Ladies and gentlemen, I got a new one for you. I went bio for like the first time in forever. It's time to learn how to use my Marines, Marauders, and Medivacs. I sent out my scouting SCV. All I really learned was that he had an expansion, which means it wasn't a cheesy one base all in. I sent out a little advance party because that's the nice thing about bio is you put a little bit of pressure early on. Unfortunately, he's got a little bit of an army of his own, but that gives me an excuse to see that he has roaches, which further emphasizes that I'm going to need Marauders later on because they're heavy tech and they can really take on Marines. I sent out my merry band of scouting Marines. They will be able to detect that the roaches are coming over. So I start adjusting my concave. The biggest thing I've learned about bio is you really need those concaves. You gotta have a nice surround on the army pushing in. Every Marine and Marauder you have is firing down on the enemy's army. Let alone the fact that this is on the high ground with a bunker, which makes it almost impossible for this roach army to push in, especially with a tank coming over. I load up a medivac as a proud Terran. Send it over to harass the enemy's mineral mine since I see his armies up at my base. Turns out though, and I will scout with my Marines, that the Ravagers, or the Roaches, are falling back. He murders the poor Marine in cold blood. Medivac is slowly pushing out. Meanwhile, I decide to put my army out on the map now. And I'm going to try and make use of that medivac to do some multi-pronged harass, because that's the thing with bio, especially since this guy's going into tech, is you hit them where they're not. So I'll draw the army back with the medivac and then attack with my army where he isn't. Or I'll just super squeeze this second base because I don't know if I ever scouted his third. The tank gives me a good position so he can't push up that hill. I'm able to pick off some of his drones. And then I push my medivac back to further mess up his army. So now he's in a pinch. He either has to attack my main army or deal with my medivac drop. Fortunately, I don't take full advantage of that. I could have taken out that base now, but I was too focused on either macro, with me building my third finally, or just dealing with that drop. I see that his army's too big for me to push directly into. So now we're both kind of awkwardly out and about here. I don't know if I have the best hold here, but since it's on the high ground, it will make it hard for him to push in. I send out my medivac at an unfortunate time, but it slips past his army. But the queen's about to take it out. Yeah. Meanwhile, he tries to push up into my defensive position. I'm able to do really good damage, and you can see I'm microing my Marines to try and get that concave. Unfortunately, he does push my position back. I do get all the Marines down, but I wasn't paying attention or else I could start doing some damage. I finally realize they're there and I'm able to kill some of his workers, which really helps because I did lose a lot of army in that trade. And I'm being cheeky enough to drive them all around. This is the best thing about Terran Bio is you just pull his army all around. At this point, I probably ignored the medivac because I don't have enough micro to fully keep focus on it while macroing. The Zerg is currently making a multi-pronged attack towards me. I've got a nice defensive position up though, so this little army down here is going to get taken out. His other army slowly comes to the fight, but it's too slow to really be in time to do significant damage. Stim my Marines, enough medivacs to keep him held. And that deals with his attack. So this is where I finally start trying to do some attacking. I scan and see he doesn't have an army directly on this base. So I try and kill some workers and kill the base as soon as I can. I just went for the workers right now because I knew it took a little too long to do anything. And the second you touch their base with a pack of Marines, especially Zerg, you know their whole army's moving over to you. I don't know if I can take this fight, but I try holding this ground and getting a little bit of a concave. I wasn't able to keep the high ground, so I grab what I can and get out of there. Unfortunately, that attack gets completely dusted. Meanwhile, this is the benefit of Terran. I sent a drop over to this base, so I'm going to be able to take out one of his bases despite losing to a head-on fight. And yes, as you can see, I do kill the base. And that's what Bio's all about, is juggling their army. They can't cover every single base at once if they're just A-moving their entire army. One thing we'll see though, because I didn't have those like 8 barracks, is in the top right corner, I'm juggling way too much minerals and gas right now. And I'm not even maxed out, so I should be pumping out those Marines and Marauders. But I'm not, because I'm not the best at macro. That's what it comes down to. I could also build like 3 more command centers just to turn into orbitals or take whatever other bases are available. But I slowly get a grasp on things. Also, he's got like 20 to 30 less workers than I do because of my constant harassment into his mineral lines. Speaking of the harassment, I send out another drop to this 4th. I don't think I'm paying attention well enough to get these guys out before dying. But again, that's his whole army compared to just a subset of mine. And I do get the base in time. And now I start sending these guys over, but it's a little too late. They should have attacked at the same time as that squad. But still, I'm holding the Zerg back from expanding his economy with multiple bases, which is really what it comes down to. And since he doesn't have the creep spread because he's been too busy panicking, he wasn't able to get his army over to mine in time. And still, I'm not able to get my Marines out in time. That's still something I haven't got a full grasp of with Bio, is being able to pick up and leave in time. Because it's just, you got a macro behind it, you know? And I'm not macroing well. I'm carrying a whole 3,000 minerals while throwing down 2 bases. It's hard to spend that money when you don't have enough production behind it. And that's why this guy's able to do good damage to me, is I really lost my whole army on that attack without being able to remax out fast due to my lack of barracks. But I'm starting to learn. I built 4 extra barracks. Unfortunately, I have to lose a base because of it. If I can survive this though, I'm going to have a lot of production online, and I still have more bases and workers if he doesn't destroy me. The tank holds a bit, but I start realizing I gotta fall back. Anything on this low ground is washed. That's one thing too with Terran that I've been learning, is you don't want to, probably just with any race to be honest, but you don't want to trickle your reinforcements into the army when you're on the defensive. You want to save them up, lose what you can in order to build up a sizable army to defend. When you trickle them in, they're able to take them out one by one like this guy just has. Which means I've got to even evacuate my natural and hold this high ground. This means I'm going to lose a lot of stuff down here. I've got 2 tanks and a planetary up on this 4th base though. So thankfully I'm not completely out of the game. I'm trying to hold this high ground as best as I can. I even send out the workers. That might have been a mistake though. I try... What am I doing? They get past though. They get past. Yeah, see, I'm really building all the troops I can now, and I still have so much minerals and gas in the bank. Which means I will be able to defend as long as I don't trickle everybody right into his army. This is where I realize it, and I pull back, and I just let him kill what he can while I build my army back up. I still have 2 other mining bases right now despite this main. So if I can just build them up, lose a few barracks and hold it, I'll be able to rebuild. The Zerg, on the other hand, is way too focused on this micro battle that once I kill his army, I finally realize I have those tanks I can bring over, but the Zerg doesn't have enough reinforcing troops to keep this push going. And so I finally stabilize, I tourniquet the bleeding, and now I'm back in the battle. Got 2 Marines over here. They were just checking for bases, but they'll harass him a bit. Fortunately, the Zerg runs right into my army, I think by accident. I see he has another base expanding. So I decide to hold, wait till I can send in a few more reinforcements. I sneak over. I've learned one of the most important things you can do is take the easy wins. Kill his bases where he's not defending. Even though I might be able to charge right into this defended base. If you just take out those undefended bases, then he doesn't have room to grow. You're stifling his economic growth and potential. You're really choking them out while you build up behind. And then it gives me room to attack like this. And even if this attack dies, I'm going to be able to rebuild faster than him. I try to get the concave going, but enough of my dudes died that it's a scrappy fight. But this is the beauty. These guys are able to hold on when they have their medivacs. Move the tank up for support. Get the GGs. Euphoria, thank you for the compliments. And that's game. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to continue to watch more of these as they come out, these StarCraft educational commentaries. And leave a like. Let me know what you'd like to see or learn about. I can kind of help. We'll see. Anyways, have a great week. I love you. Goodbye.